ಆತ್ಮೀಯರೇ, ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದಂಥ ಸಮುದಾಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಯನ್ನು 10% ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತನ್ನುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ಯರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಹುಮತದ ತೀರ್ಪಿನಂತೆ 10% ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅಂಗೀಕಾರವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನೀಡಿದೆ. ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಂಥ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ಆಧಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಂಥ ತೀರ್ಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಅಂಗೀಕಾರ ನೀಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಈ ವಿಷಯದ ಕುರಿತಾದಂತೆ ಅನೇಕ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಜನಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರ ನಡುವಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎದ್ದು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾವೆ. ಆ ವಿಷಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಕುರಿತಾದಂತೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ವಾದಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ನಿಲುವೇನು ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತೆ CPIMನ ಪಾಲಿಟ್ ಬ್ಯೂರೋ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾದಂಥ ಸಗಾತಿ BV ರಾಘುಲ್ ಅವರವರು ನಮ್ಮ CPIM ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ಕಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸಂದರ್ಶನಕ್ಕಾಗಿ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಆಹ್ವಾನವನ್ನು ಅವರು ಒಪ್ಪಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಈ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Comrade, recently the Supreme Court has took a decision that in its judgment they are endorsed the Parliament the recommendation of increase that reserving the 10% for the general category. So what is our opinion on that?
See, Supreme Court judgment stamped the veracity of 10% reservation for economically weaker sections. Although it is a divided judgment, majority of the bench, 3 judges, opined that it is constitutionally valid of giving 10% to economically weaker sections. The other 2 judges differed with it, but mainly on the basis of that the 10% reservation will nullify the ceiling put by the Supreme Court earlier, that 50% ceiling. So on that basis they differed with the judgment. But in the course of arguments before the Supreme Court, there are many arguments came up. One is the reservation for economically weaker sections is itself is not rational, because reservations should be based on social backwardness and social criteria, not economic criteria. This is one type of argument that is there among the sections of intelligentsia, and some argument. This argument was also put forward by the before the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court majority didn't agree with this, saying that social, educational, even economic backwardness also should be taken into account. It is not against the basic principles of Constitution. It falls under the constitutional jurisdiction. That is the argument given by the Supreme Court. That is one type of argument. CPM opinion on this is, yes, we agree that social backwardness or social discrimination should be according to resolution. But other criteria should not be discounted, should not be ignored. Educational backwardness, economic backwardness also are important. When social discrimination is there, it should be given prominence. But ignoring educational backwardness and other economic backwardness will give so many contradictions in this. For example, while we are giving reservations in employment and jobs for socially discriminated people, in the belief that it will empower them to overcome their social backwardness. The implication is whoever economically advanced may overcome the social backwardness. By implication, if you are economically weak, you may be facing some disadvantages in the society. So empowerment is also one of the important criteria to empower any section of the people. So that's why you should not ignore economic aspect also. That is one thing. The second thing is the discrimination may be very, very different. And reservation in many countries, positive discriminatory type of reservation or any type of empowerment activities in different countries follow different patterns of giving benefits to the concerned section. Take for example, in some countries it is a religion. In Ireland, it's in Malaysia, it is based on backwardness. Actually, the majority is given reservations there in Malaysia. Majority of the people are Malays, and because they are educationally backward when compared with the Chinese and the Indians that have settled there, so majority of the people, on the basis of economic backwardness, they are accorded reservation there. In America, there are various type of empowerment activities for Indians, the Aboriginal Indians. There is reservation of areas itself, and for women and for racial discriminated people, there is certain types of targeted creation of opportunities.
Yeah.
There is no quota system there. So various different types of systems are there. The basic thrust is whoever is discriminated on the basis of social, on the basis of education, on the basis of economic discrimination, they are being given. In India also, if you go through the history of reservations, it's not only social criteria, other criteria also were taken into account. First, in 1909, in Minto Morley reforms were accorded. It is the religion that was taken into account and accorded reservation in the political bodies. By 1931-32, it changed into, they added scheduled caste also in according reservations in the political representative bodies. Before that, Sahu Maharaj, they gave reservation not on the basis of untouchability. They divided the society into Brahmin and non-Brahmin. So the non-Brahmins were as a group together. In non-Brahmins, there are untouchables are there are discriminated, there are moneyed people are there. Everybody was lumped together. In 1921, that same thing happened in Madras Presidency also. Non-Brahmins were as a group was given. It's not based on exclusively social.
Here also.
So that way, even in India, various factors were taken into account. Another example, after attainment of independence, tribals were also recorded. Before that, tribals were not given reservations. Only after independence, tribals were also given. They are not discriminated. There is no untouchability for them, but they are educationally backward, economically backward. Many of the communities, they are living in jungles, and the cultural level is also so. On the basis, even though they are not untouchables, there is no caste system, there is no discrimination on the basis of caste system, but because of other reasons they were also accorded reservation. There was no reservation in the constitution from the central side for OBCs.
Yeah.
Only constitution says that if states feel that they should be given reservation, it was accorded that state can take their own decision. But for backward communities, OBCs, it is only in 1992 reservation was given. But even among backward classes also there is, if you take Shudras, there is different layers of Shudras. They were economically powerful and they were also given reservation. Take for Karnataka, for example, all the dominant, money, landed, some of the castes were also given. Now the hesitation for Kapus and Marathas were accorded, even though court didn't accept. So there are economic criteria. Without economic criteria, even powerful people also were given reservation. So if you look at the history of reservations in India also, different types of criteria was given importance. Educational, social, educational, economic backwards, all these factors were taken into consideration. And now, what is the basis of backwardness or something? It is only simply constitutional. Even if a forward caste can become a backward caste if you include. So it has become a political thing, not on the basis of other things. So that's why, and also, if some community on the basis of backwardness, educational and social backwardness is given, if because of various economic factors, if that community, overwhelming majority of the community advanced, then why should the rich be given a reservation? That's why CPM says, even if you give reservation to the backward communities, there should be economic criteria. So even if you give prominence to social criteria to accord reservations, in that economic criteria also should be inserted so that the real, genuine people will get the. So that's why you should not put a Chinese wall between all these criteria. First priority should be social criteria. If necessary, other criteria also should be taken into account. In this manner, in the upper caste people also, there are a lot of poorer sections. Because of various policies, there is a differentiation in upper caste also. Many sections of the upper caste also became poor. They needed various types of welfare measures to improve their. But the argument is, why giving reservation? There are other means which can be used to uplift their economic development. Why reservations? Here, another important political point comes into picture. If you want to protect reservations for the really deserved SCs and STs, these economically weaker sections in the upper caste should be mobilized in support of reservations. Otherwise, what is saying, anti-reservations are provoking them. Why? You are also poor and you are not given any benefits, and these reservations goes, you will be getting benefit. That way they are creating animosity, anger in these sections, and they are turning them into anti-reservation. You see the anti-reservation movement in the past, that is the basic reason. In order to bring more and more people in support of reservations for SCs and other deserving people, we have to mobilize these sections also, and they need some support. If you provide support in the form of reservations, they will be supporting the reservation for others also. In that way, for the sake of protecting reservations for the other classes, we should mobilize more and more support. This political aspect is also there in supporting. One is economic aspect. They also should be given some sort of support to uplift them. There is political necessity of bringing them into support of others. Without bringing them, anti-reservation sentiments will grow. Ultimately, it will threaten the existence of reservations itself. That is another reason. According to CPM, there is a third reason. What is that reason? We want to mobilize, unify all the poorer sections, whether they belong to upper caste, whether they belong to, as a big class unity, so that this entire system has to be transformed. So to build class unity also, we should bring them into, that is the other criteria that we think necessary to unify. Unless you change the entire system, either world feudal system or the new capitalist system, even the reservations is not going to be a panacea to the even SC/ST also. So in the larger context of unity of every toiling people, every exploited people, including from scheduled caste to upper caste, because of this reason also, there is a tactical necessity to support this 10% reservation. 10 or 5, that is another thing. Now they have given 10, this type of, but with one condition. Just as we supported creamy layer for the OBCs, here also the deserved should be given reservation, not everybody from the upper caste. So the income criteria decided by the central government is very bad. It gives scope to the entry for the richer people from the upper caste. So we are deadly opposing that criteria, that criteria should be reduced so drastically that only deserving people for these sections will utilize the reservation. That is the reasons why we are supporting this. Many intelligentsia, many people from other movements, NGOs or Dalit movements, some of them oppose our point of view. There are other people in those sections also who oppose reservation per se is bad. Why? They say it is preserving caste system. It is increasing caste consciousness. Instead of annihilation of caste, it is preserving the caste system. If reservation is removed, if we adopt other forms of affirmative actions, that will destroy the caste system, and with caste system the social discrimination also will. If through reservations you preserve caste system, because this is caste system is root cause of social discrimination. You are preserving the same caste system which is responsible for the social oppression. How can you remove that? That is one of the arguments given by some of the intellectuals, even Dalit intellectuals also. We are not supporting, even though we agree with one point. This reservation is not going to destroy caste. Even this reservation is not going to destroy caste discrimination also, but it at least gives some social mobility in certain sections. That is why we are supporting. And there are other people give everybody reservation according to their proportion of the population. Then that means they are diluting the social criteria so that everybody can get reservation according to their population. So there are so many types of differences there. But basic thing is the people who are socially discriminated should be given some support. Here in India, that support is in the form of reservation, and that should be preserved. And among the other backward communities also, even though there is no untouchability, their backwardness, certain sections are very backward. They should be educationally, otherwise, they should be supported, and reservation there. As I said, there are three criteria. One is economically they are to be supported. Other, politically, they should be mobilized in support of reservation. And third, as a class, they should be unified. So because of three reasons, this 10% reservation also will give some scope for the people who are fighting against social, economic, every type of discrimination. That's why we are supporting.
So that's it. Many people they are arguing that the social aspect only should consider for the reservation. This is not an economic program. Reservation is not an economic program. Some people are opined. So what is our position and the constitution?
You see, reservation is not a God given or something. It is a program that is thought of, designed by ourselves. Every country has some sort of program to help the socially discriminated or economically backward people. India chose the quota system. Elsewhere there is no quota system. India chose quota system. Even the framers of the constitution didn't give only preference to the social discrimination. They added other discriminations also as points of reference to give reservation. As I said, if you go through the history of evolution of reservation, the ruling class or those who are in power, they took all types of criteria to decide. And according to CPM, of all the criteria, primacy should be given social discrimination, but it should not be exclusive. It should be inclusive. You have to take other also consideration when deciding this. For example, you are giving reservations for women. What criteria is there? Upper caste women also. You are giving. This is called vertical reservation and horizontal reservation. You are giving reservation to sports person, ex-army person, and physically handicapped persons. In many, even I think even in Karnataka also the reservation for the zonal system is there. And local such. In many states now reservation they are passing resolution acts reserving seats for local people. So what is there? Is there a social consideration? There are where rural people are being represented in many universities. Some more marks will be given to those people who are, what is the struggle that is going in Tamil Nadu against me? It is discrimination between urban and, so depending on the circumstances, depending on the differentiation among the people, various criteria are there. There should be given importance also. But out of all these things, social discrimination should get the primacy. Ignoring other aspects of development will ultimately harm the reservation itself. People will be mobilized against reservation quota system, and the constitution itself has put a 10-year breaking point, and we are extending. Then already some Hindutva forces are raising. Constitution says after 10 years, why are you extending 10 years? 10 years, you should be solved. And the Supreme Court judges also opined, how many years you want to continue? If these people are not being included in the benefits, if they are going to turn against this thing, ultimately the sufferers are socially discriminated.
Exactly.
And they are minority, SCs are minority, STs are minority. Even if you combine all these people, they are minority. If everybody turns against reservations, what will happen? That should not be the... So these people who are thinking in terms of only exclusive thing, ultimately their attitude will harm the reservation itself. That should not happen. That is our concern.
Yeah, what exactly we wanted to modify the rules which is framed by the government to consider the economic weaker section quota.
Yes,
One thing that 8 lakhs is limit and other
5 acres, 8 lakhs, and so many other
1,000 square feet
square
house.
feet. And
Yeah.
This means,
Yeah.
almost 90% will be included in this 10% reservation. What is the use of this? Everybody who have some property gets included in this reservation. That will be nonsense, and it will be. It may not be a. We should not call it as a reservation for the weaker sections.
Okay, comrade. Thank you, comrade. You have explained in detail. Thank you from our CPIM Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.